Okay, so yeah, go ahead. All right, let's go. Thank you so much, Katie, to give me
Yeah,
your time to be here with us. And I would like to start asking you a little bit of your journey inside volleyball. How did you start playing, and how did you ended up in college? And we go from there.
sure. Yeah, I have a little bit of a unique journey. I started playing volleyball in high school, a little later than most kids, in the States. A lot of these kids get started very young. I actually started in high school because I went to a high school that was new to me, and my mom told me I had to play volleyball to meet friends. So that's how I started. I wasn't really into volleyball. I was a softball athlete and a basketball athlete. And I started playing volleyball and, fell in love with it and kind of dropped softball, dropped basketball, stuck with volleyball. Ended up, playing in the juniors, club circuit here in the States. Got recruited to play Division I at George Washington University, which is in Washington, D.C. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know if I said that. But in Washington, D.C., played there for 4 years. I was a middle blocker. So, I was actually a little smaller for a middle blocker, but I was fast. So that was my advantage. And I always knew when I went to play at GW, I always knew I wanted to have a pro career. It was a dream of mine. When we were at GW our freshman year, we had the opportunity to actually go play overseas for our spring break our freshman year. We went to Italy, and we got to play a bunch of teams over there, and it was a ton of fun. And I was right from there, I was like, I want to play pro. But I had a little bit of a hiccup. My second to last career game at GW, I tore my whole knee apart. ACL, MCL, meniscus, right as I was finishing school. So I had to have surgery. I took a year after college to really, rehab. I coached some club, hung out in the States. And then I got my first pro contract to play in Finland. And then after that, I had the opportunity to play in Switzerland. And from there, I came home. I, got into coaching, started coaching NCAA Division III at Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago. I was the women's coach there for 4 years. And then as I was the women's coach after my first year, I started the men's NCAA Division III program there. So I was the men's coach for 3 years. And from there, I went and got a job as the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Brown University for their women's team, which is a Division I school in Rhode Island. I was there for 3 years, and now I am at Lawrence Tech University as the head men's coach in Detroit, Michigan. And that's how we met.
Cool. That sounds like a lot. And
Yeah, it's been a journey, that's for
yeah,
sure.
right. So you said a lot of things interesting, and coming back a little bit, you mentioned about your knee injury, and like it was right before you finished college. So my question is, how was your mind when you got the injury? Because you were planning to go pro, right?
Yeah.
So how did you handle all that? And after that, you still went pro. So how did you do it?
Yeah, it was a real shock and a real bummer. Honestly, when it happened, I was actually having my best career match. We were in set 4, like I said, one of the last games of our season. We were in set 4, and I had the most blocks I've had in my college career, and I had the most kills, and then I went down. It was really a bummer. But yeah, I mean, my mindset, to be honest with you, right afterwards, I was really out of it. I was really bummed, that our team it knocked us out of the opportunity to go to our conference tournament. So our season just had a really rough end to my senior year, my culmination of my entire, career. But I think it made me even more determined to play professionally because I felt like I was gypped my senior season. So I wanted to play even more. And so I got surgery, and I was really lucky to be able to take advantage of this training staff at GW, even though I was a graduated athlete. So I did a ton of knee rehab, which is, for anybody who's been through that injury, it's not fun. It's not easy. But I got back into it, as quickly as I could. And yeah, I think it was just a lot of persistence. I really reached out to everyone and anyone I knew who had connections playing overseas or who had played overseas. I, put highlight reels together. I really did everything I could to just get as much exposure as possible. And my first year in Finland, I actually didn't play, I didn't get the best contract that I could have possibly gotten because of my injury, because I was kind of out of the game. But then when I went and played in Finland, I really used that opportunity to kind of elevate, my name, kind of put some stats behind my name, get some better film to be able to go play in a better league in Switzerland. So.
Oh, that's nice. And it's something nice that you said, like you got injured and you said that you got more determined to play,
Yeah.
like you wanted even more. And that's something nice, like to share, because sometimes something bad happens to you, like you kind of give up or say it's not for me. And with you was exactly the opposite. Like something happened to you and you took that and like you got stronger. You say like, yeah, and that's nice.
Yeah.
And
It's funny. I don't think it was ever in my mind that I wouldn't get better. I feel like a lot of athletes have that. You get hurt, and it's like, okay, I just got to get through this, and then I'm back on the court. And so for me, it was never a question that I was going to play again. It was just trying to figure out how to get through that time.
mhm. And so you went to a better league, you said, that's what in Switzerland. And
Yes.
how was it? How was the season?
Oh, it was awesome. It was a great experience. Switzerland, I played in Luzerne, Switzerland, which is on like the Swiss German side. So everybody there spoke Swiss German. But it was a really great league. We played really great competition. We played some of the best teams in Switzerland. Yeah, it was NLA, really, really great experience. Yeah, so I was really lucky to be able to play that league for sure.
Yeah, and for how long did you play professional?
So 2 years total. I had a short career for sure. For me, I wanted to play professionally. I majored in geography in college. I really loved the idea of getting out and seeing the world and seeing where volleyball could take me. But then after that, I was, excited to get back to the States and, try something different. I think a lot of folks, I don't know if this experience is similar to a lot of people who play pro, but playing pro can be kind of lonely sometimes because you're in a new country where you don't really know anyone, and it's just volleyball all the time, which is great. But at the same time, it's kind of tough. You're kind of putting your life on hold, to pursue that dream, which I was just really lucky, loved the time that I did it, but I was ready to hang it up after that.
So when you decided like that you didn't want to play pro anymore, you knew that you wanted to be a coach already, or you had some other options?
Yeah, to be honest, like that transition, I wasn't sure whether or not I was ready to be done or if I was going to come back for another season, or if I was going to coach, or pursue something else. I actually was thinking about pursuing some grad programs to go into some, kind of some different fields, not coaching.
Mhm.
But I got the opportunity to coach in Chicago. And while I was there, I kind of, that opportunity kind of led me to like stick with coaching. I didn't realize that I really wanted to be a coach, mostly because I feel like I'm one of those people, and as a coach, I get this way. I really love to, kind of show what I do. I love to be in the action. So for me, being a coach, I was like, I don't know if I can be on the sidelines while everybody else plays. I don't know if I can do that. But I think in coaching, it's a whole different aspect. You're the tactical aspect of things. You're the brain behind everything. So it's just a little different, but I like the challenge for sure.
Yeah. Just a little before we go into your coaching. how was the biggest difference between playing professional and playing college? Was like the mentality was different or the intensity was different? How was that experience?
Yeah, I would say it was in different countries. It had, different cultures. It was different across the board. But in Switzerland, I would say that uh, the biggest thing is in college, everybody's 18 through 21 for the most part. So everybody's pretty young. Whereas in the professional realm, you have people who are 18 years old, but then also people who are 40 playing on the same team. And so there's a maturity aspect to it. It's not like coaches barking at players. It's more of like a collaboration. And players really have, which I really appreciated and picked up on when I was playing pro, was, the players really have their own goals and their own, mindset and where they want to be. Whereas sometimes in the States, in the college realm, I feel like kids just want things handed to them. Like, just give me the practice plan, give me, the lifting plan, give me the strength and conditioning, all that. Whereas I feel like in the pro realm, people kind of take the initiative to take it on themselves more often than not, which I really appreciated. It's just kind of a little bit more professional atmosphere, right? Just, it's a job. And so people show up and treat it like such. So.
And when you went to another country, were you ready for all these kind of differences, or it was just something that you learned when you were there and you just handle in a good way?
Yeah, you just learn it while you're there, for sure. I don't think I was prepared for the differences. But I think for me, wanting to play pro and dealing with my injury, like I had to take the initiative. I had to do things all on my own and kind of get myself out there. And so I think being in that atmosphere wasn't really tough for me because I wanted to be pushed. I wanted to get out there and take advantage of this opportunity. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I wasn't like intimidated or anything by the environment because it was what I wanted. It was what I was expecting.
No, yeah, for sure. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That we always talk. Um, some of the best athletes or coaches, when they have like a goal that they want to achieve and that goal is clear, you usually don't get like like nothing bothers you. You are just ready to go all the time, and you are just there to learn and to win and do whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that makes sense, and I like that. Go ahead.
So yeah, moving to your coaching career, you went to a D3 school, right?
Hmm.
And you spent there 1 year,
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Yes.
How was the experience over there?
Good. So like I said, I took over as the women's coach and then I started the men's program. And so we were kind of building the men's program, which was a ton of fun, to build something from scratch and put our name on it. I think, the D3 realm, especially for men's volleyball, because not that many schools have men's volleyball as opposed to women's volleyball where everybody has women's volleyball. So like I feel like for men's volleyball, the level at D3 is really, really competitive. And so it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun to recruit, some big players into our gym and get the thing off the ground. But yeah, I mean, I like that experience. I wanted to, after being at Illinois Tech, I wanted to get back into D1 because I played D1. And nothing against D3 athletes. I think they work super hard. And I think that a D3 athlete, D1 athlete, I think there's really no difference. I've had players who've worked a ton harder at the D3 level than the athletes I've had at the D1 level. But I wanted to get to that just higher level of play on the women's side. So that's why I went over to Brown and coached the D1 level.
Also, you were talking about players that work really hard and even harder than the others. And when someone in your team is not working that hard, how do you approach him? How do you talk to him, like to bring him back and make him work like harder?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's like one of the classic coaching dilemmas, right? I think through my career, I've gone through a lot of different methods in that. I used to be one of those coaches who just was like, get on the line, we're going to run this out until you try harder. And all I ended up with was really grumpy, really tired athletes, and it really didn't get me anywhere. And so I think, now having a little bit of experience in coaching for a while, I've realized that you really can't teach someone's motor. You can't teach how much they want to be there. You can't coach, their passion for the game. You can't. So it really comes down to recruiting the kids who want to be there, the players you want in your gym, and really identifying that in the recruiting process. And, if I'm not going to coach, I'm not going to basically make you run if you're not trying hard enough. This is a college gym, right? Like I'm a college coach. And I think, from my professional experience, I want to run it as though we're all professionals here. We're showing up for a job, we're putting in the work. And so if I do have a player like that, everybody has their off days, right? So I would definitely pull them aside and be like, hey man, what's going on? Like, where are you at today? What's in your head? Kind of try to get to the bottom of it. If I can. And, then, if there's a real issue, address it with them, try to get through it, okay, I know you're dealing with this outside volleyball. Let's get through this practice and we'll talk after. And then if there's not, right, if they're just in a crap mood and they're bringing down the gym, I'm just going to ask them to leave. Like, it's just not something that, I'm here to show up for all my players. And if there's one bad egg that day that's kind of bringing down the vibe of the entire gym and we can't get something accomplished, I'm going to eliminate that from the practice. But again, I think that meeting the player where they're at, right? Like I'm here to serve my players. So, I go into it expecting the best from all of them, expecting that they're all there to work their hardest, to show up every day. But every once in a while, they're going to have a tough day. Like, nobody's showing up just to be a jerk. Like, they're showing up with a lot of baggage. And so meeting them where they're at, trying to get to the bottom of that. And then if you can't, I just got to cut the virus out, get them out. So.
Right. You had experience working with men and women. So does your approach change at all with one or another, or is it all the same? How that works?
That's a good question. I get that one a lot too. I think the common misconception is that men are less emotional than women. I find that's not very true in a lot of ways. It was something I expected. And then as I started coaching men, I was like, oh, okay, we still have a ton of emotion over here. It's just, it's different.
Right.
So I would say I honestly, I do. I coach my athletes the same. I coach them, I approach them all as, we're trying to get to a common goal together, as professionals. I meet them where they're at. The one thing I do notice that is a little different. I'm not sure if something you guys have experienced too, but when I coach women on the women's side, I find that it's a lot of collaboration. The women's side, the women athletes like to be asked, like, how does this feel? Like, what are you thinking? And they like to be, collaborators in the experience. Whereas I feel like sometimes on the men's side, guys just want to know, like, tell me what to do and I'll do it and let's go. Like, let's just go. Whereas it's like, if I ask them, like, how did that feel? They're like, I don't know. I just hit the ball. Let me just keep going. So it's one of those things where guys just want to be given the information to make them better, to get to the place that they need to be. Whereas women kind of want to like be involved in the process. Help me out, help me get there. So that's the biggest difference. Honestly, but like in terms of like coaching them differently, not really, because, we're all athletes. We all deal with stress. We all deal with things the same way. It's just, we all have personalities approaching it. So yeah.
I never heard that. Yeah.
Right.
Something that we're gonna
I don't know.
start.
Do you guys notice that? Like how you prefer to be coached? Like, I don't know. Do you rather just someone tell you like, this is what you to do? Let's go. Let's do it.
I agree that I think that's the best way for me. Like, you tell me what to do and I don't need to think about it. the best
There you
rookies
go.
and athletes.
Yeah, I think the guys, they don't really like to think too much about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just automatic. And even like when we have a coach that just tell us what to do, it's kind of, we are always expecting them to tell us what to do.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody, that I think that's the biggest thing, because nobody really asks us like, oh, what do you think about it? That's why they say, I don't know. Nobody never asked me that question.
That's a
Right?
good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I'll keep asking the guys that, even if they don't know. I'll just
Right. Yeah. One day they will answer you. For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And now, then we went to another school right after this. It was 1 year, right? Doing
At
the
Illinois Tech, after Illinois Tech?
yes.
Yes, I went to Brown University in Rhode Island, which is NCAA Division One, the women's side.
Mhm.
I was there for 3 years, assistant coach and recruiting coordinator there.
Mhm.
So
And so when you were recruiting, what is the biggest thing that you look in an athlete? Like the first thing that you look at it.
yeah, I mean, other than them being like 6'8" and be able to bounce balls, I think in terms of the intangibles, like things that they can't or just personality and things like that. I think we kind of already had touched on it, is the motor, like them, being the driver of their own experience, like guys or women who are passionate, who want to be there, who are the ones like on the court who are directing things. Players that just have, just a presence about them on the court. And that doesn't necessarily need to be like the loudest guy in the gym or the quietest guy in the gym. For certain positions, my middles, I love my middles to just be, big, goofy, crazy, get a block and get in people's faces. But, my outsides, they need to have a little bit more composure than that, right? Because they're going from service-eve to swinging, to service-eve to swinging, and doing all sorts of things. So it's just, I like to have a lot of conversations with the recruits that I go after, and just really get to know them and see what is their reasoning for playing volleyball. Why are they here? What are their goals? And do we align in what we, want, me as a coach and them as a player? Like I said, I don't want a bunch of players in my gym every day where I have to be the one driving them. I want them to come in with the vision to get better, to want to win a championship, so that I can just kind of provide the roadmap, right? I'm here to help you do that thing, but I want you to be the one who, really wants to go after it. So that's I think the biggest thing I look for is that drive in players.
That's nice. So you would say that your kind of leadership style would be like kind of like passion, like the person has to want to be there, has to be like the eyes, like they look to the game, like they want to be there, they want to play,
Yeah.
they love the game.
Yeah, and I guess just their demeanor and how they come back from mistakes and how they come back from errors and things like that. I mean, do they come back and get more determined, right? Do they get aced and get back into service even say, come in and serve me again? Or do they shell up, right? Do they turn into, like really, do they get really scared? That's a big thing that I look for. But yeah, just the presence on the court and the determination. I like to, my favorite thing is when I have conversations with recruits and they ask me, what's your vision for the program in 5 years? And, what's your setter like? And like, what kind of offense do you like to run? Like, I love when they take, they have a vision for what they want and they're trying to feel me out to see if I have a vision. Those are the things that get me excited as a coach, because I know that it's not going to be me just babysitting this player. It's going to be a collaboration of us doing this thing together.
Oh yeah, no, I like that, because I feel like many athletes, I don't know with what kind of athletes you work with, but like in so many levels, I feel like many athletes, they are there just to have fun, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's wrong, but well, we're kind of need to win as well. It's not just having fun, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that idea of like well, our coach is here just to help us and not necessarily to just babysit us, and
Yeah.
we gotta kind of help each other. Do you have any captains in your team?
So right now, no, because we only have 5 guys on the team right now. So we're reloading and rebuilding. So we probably will. But yeah, not right now. I have a love-hate relationship with captains. I think captains serve a purpose at times, but in some teams it can hinder. It can lead to some other players just taking a backseat role instead of jumping into leadership positions because they're like, oh, I'm not a captain, so I don't need to do that. So yeah, I'm still trying to feel out how I feel about captains.
Right. No, yeah, I like that idea. And I feel like that happens a lot in many teams. I play soccer, so we usually have so many guys that, well, it's hard for the coach to manage so many guys in the team, like 20 or even 30. And sometimes you have like 2, 3 captains, but it's hard to keep everyone in the same page. So yeah, I like the idea of maybe not having a captain and making everyone to step up and kind of be the leader. I like that. Yeah. So my question is for you now is what do you expect for the next season? I saw that you improved the school record a little bit. So what do you expect for the next season?
Yeah, so I just started in January at LTU. We didn't have a season this past spring because we were low numbers and because of COVID. Okay. But yeah, so I'm really excited for next season. I think that it's going to be, we're bringing in a whole new team because like I said, we had such low numbers. And we're trying to balance that team with some guys with some experience at the college level and some guys who obviously are newcomers, freshmen coming in from the club system. But we're really looking for, like I said before, what I look for in recruiting, guys who have a vision, who want to help build this thing. And so I'm excited because I think we have some of those players coming. And so I think, our conference, as you guys know, well, as Gustavo knows, is very competitive, which is awesome. I think that was one of the main reasons I took this job was because I'm going to get to coach some high level volleyball against some really high level teams. And so I'm really looking forward to next season. I think, we're finishing up our recruiting class, but if we're able to get the players that we want to get, I think it'll be a lot of fun, really competitive.
And you think of bringing a lot of new players, do you think can be hard for you to have to create a chemistry between them, or do you expect? Of course, you expect good results for next season, but do you have a long-term vision as well?
Yeah, I think there's good and bad about bringing in a whole new squad. We do have some players on the team now, but there are coaches who take over programs that have a step. The team's already set. But then you deal with issues of buy-in, right? You deal with your team buying into you and your vision, and doing, I want to do things the old way, the way the coach before wanted us to do it, and kind of fighting that battle all the time. With bringing in my own players who I recruit, I kind of alleviate that issue a little bit. It's, these guys are here because, I recruited them. They're on board with what the vision is and what we want to do. So that's a good thing. What was the second part of your question?
I mean, how to create chemistry between all of them?
Yeah, a ton of time in the gym together, playing 6-on-6, and that's what I love about men's volleyball is it's a spring sport, whereas in women's volleyball it's a lot tougher. We get in 3-4 weeks before our first game, and you have to create all that chemistry, create all that vibe, whereas we have a whole semester to do that. So obviously it's still not a ton of time, but I think it's a good amount of time to get us going and get us vibing on the same page.
Good. Yeah, so moving forward a little bit, we are in the NCAA league. It's not the biggest division, biggest league in the US, but it's growing a lot, and in my vision it's getting better each year. And what do you think NCAA needs to do to get closer to NCAA, to match the level?
Oh, interesting. You mean like Division I, Division II?
Yeah,
that's a good question. That's a good question. I think that the biggest difference is money in the sports, right? How much money can we give in scholarships, and how much money the athletic departments have. Some of these Division I athletic departments have a ton of money, and you can see that in their facilities and just the endowments. So yeah, I think, working with, I think the NAIA as a whole, all the schools in the NAIA, kind of getting together and, figuring out ways to boost, just funding for all the different schools, and just making it, I feel like the way you do it is get better players in, right? Get better and better players in, but you have to make it attractive to all those players to want to come play here rather than play at the NCAA Division I, Division II level. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it is getting better. I think that it's getting, especially for men's volleyball. I don't know what it's like for men's soccer, but for men's volleyball, I know it's comparable at places. There's NAIA teams beating D2 teams all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you have international players in your team?
So we're recruiting some right now. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. We don't right now, but we will.
Right. And how important you think is to bring international players? Because I play soccer, so soccer is completely different around the world and
Right.
comparing to US.
Right.
So I feel like bringing international people for a soccer team, it's important because they kind of see soccer in a different way, because nobody has college sports, so kind of the competitiveness level that they have in other countries is kind of different. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to have these players in the team for soccer. How that works for volleyball?
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think volleyball is played very differently around the globe. They play it very differently in China than they do in Brazil, that's for sure. And so I think it's huge to get like international players in, for that reason, just different style of play. But then kind of like what we touched on before, in the international world for volleyball, at least they don't play college volleyball in Europe, for example.
Right.
These players, they're playing in the professional circuit, U19, U20, and then some of them play professionally. And so being able to bring over players that are in that system that are very professional in the way they go about things, right? These aren't like 16, 17-year-old kids coming out of the US club system who, again, going back to kind of that babysitting, you might get that more often. Whereas bringing in professional players who have an expectation of winning and have an expectation of how things are supposed to be done, that can help shape the culture of our team into what we want it to be. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I agree with you, especially because in Brazil, I always had like my parents helping me, so I was fine. But like some of my teammates, they didn't have help, and they were playing basically for food or for a job. And so
Yeah.
it's nice how to combine like their motivation, because how can I compete with this guy that's playing for food and I'm here like to have fun, and then I have to match with him if I want to play, and that's
Right.
nice to increase the level.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. We have some final questions for you just to wrap it up. Question that we always ask, and we wanted to see what people have to say, is how you measure success.
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, success for us at the NAIA level would be winning the NAIA, winning the WAC, winning the conference tournament, winning the whole thing. That's ultimate success. Setting a goal and reaching your goal, that is like the success. But obviously that, even if you're the best team or the best your team can be, you can't control the outside factors. You can't control the other teams that show up. You can't control, a lot of things. And so I think success for me is, we all know as players and as coaches when we're putting in our best, when we are working our hardest, when we aren't, shortchanging ourselves. And so when you're able to put in your best work and get your best work out, even if you lose, right? Even if you lose a game in the 5th set, to the best team in the country, and it just doesn't go your way, but that, hey, I worked my butt off for the past, whatever it may be, year, 6 months. I didn't take shortcuts. I'm playing at the highest level I've ever played at because of all this work I put in. I think, knowing that in the back of your mind, that loss isn't going, it's obviously going to suck because we're athletes and it's going to suck, but it's not going to suck as bad than, you getting in there and losing, knowing that, hey, I lost because I didn't put in my best, or I don't know about you guys, but there are certain games in my past where I still think about, and it makes me so mad because I'm like, oh my gosh, I was being such a wuss in that game. I remember feeling so, not confident, and I missed the serve because I was really, really scared, to be honest. Or, I went up and I tipped the ball on, game point when I should have taken a big swing. And so those kind of things, when you can play confidently and take risks and, go all out because you've put the work in, you're confident in your play. So even if you come up short, you're still playing at the best you possibly can. I think that is kind of how I measure success. Those games where, I was being kind of a wuss, those are not successful games. Even if I won the game, right? But I still was kind of not feeling my best. I don't like looking back on that game. It doesn't bring me good memories. I like looking at the games when I was playing out of my mind. You're getting that zone, you feel confident, you're rolling. But maybe the chips didn't fall your way, but you're still playing confidently at your best. I think that's to me a successful match.
It makes a lot of sense to me, because for me, one of the worst feelings is when I think if I have done something different, if I have being more confident or worked a little bit harder, and then that's the worst feeling. So I agree. I totally agree with you. If you lose a game, but you did everything you could to win, but you couldn't, think it's not fine, but you can feel a little bit better. So
right.
I totally.
It's hard. Honestly, I find I have a really hard time feeling successful as a coach, because as a coach, I feel like everything falls back on you. Whether or not, if we lost a game and say I cut practice 15 minutes early because, the guy's legs were shot, I'd be like, that's why we lost. I cut practice 15 minutes early. But then if we won that game, I'd be like, oh, we won that game because I cut practice 15 minutes early. So it's a devil's advocate. It's really tough. But, I think just, putting in your best and, working your butt off and putting in your best and knowing it's your best, that's where I find the most successful moments.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have one more question for you. I feel that some people, they have I don't know, one person or one quote or one book that they read that changed their lives and the way that they see things. I don't know if you have these experiences. There's someone or something that you want to share that changed your way to seeing the game or seeing life that you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, there's one quote that I really love, and I always go back to it whenever I'm feeling like I said before, like a wuss. It's by Teddy Roosevelt, and it's very long, but it's the man in the arena quote. If you guys want to look it up, it's a very long quote. It's like a paragraph. But basically, the whole premise of it is it's like the man in the arena, and it's basically just telling you, get into the arena, go do the hard things, go fight the battle, and don't worry about all the people who are going to talk about, how you should have done this differently, or talk about how bad you are. Just getting in the ring, getting in, doing things in life, that is, that's what true success, how you measure true success and how you'll see true success, is continuing to get in the ring and continuing to go and do things in life and fail. Because there's a lot of people out there who don't, they don't put themselves in those situations at all. And so they don't grow and they don't ever have true success because they're always kind of, playing it safe and sitting back, where, I like to, even if I'm really scared and I'm, thinking this is the worst idea, I'm playing like crap, I'm really embarrassed, but at least I'm here. I'm putting in the work, I'm doing my best, and there's people out there who don't. And so that's kind of the one quote. It's a really good quote. I'm not doing it justice, so look it up.
Yeah.
And then there's a book that I like to have a lot of my teams read, and just on team culture. And I think it's good for building a new program for sure, which is what I'm doing now, but it's called Legacy. And it's about the New Zealand All Blacks, the rugby team.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
The
heard.
team that they danced before the game.
Yeah. Have you heard of the book though?
No, I haven't.
The
But
book is
I'll look
good.
it up.
So
It's
the
good.
book is all about their culture as a team and the things they do on the team. And like they notoriously are never the biggest team or the best skilled, but they always win. Like they're notorious for winning because of their culture. I think they're just being an all black, it kind of just encompasses them as people. And it's just I think it's a really great book to kind of teach culture. They don't do everything right, but I think some of the things they do, gives them the edge over their competition when maybe, they're not the best or the strongest or the fastest, but like just the mindset of the team gets them through some tough things. So that book's really good if you guys want to read up on that one.
For sure,
Yeah.
we will. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I love what you said about the mindset of trying new things and
Yeah.
fail sometimes, but growing with that. I was just talking to Gustavo the other day about the book mindset,
Yeah.
how the author he mentions like about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what you said. And unfortunately, there's so many people that has the fixed mindset that they don't see um, bad results as a opportunity to improve. They just see a bad result and they get stuck there. And well,
Right.
thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's something that we are trying to share with people that are listening to us, watching us, and following us on Instagram, because we have the opportunity to learn that, so we wanted to help other people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
thanks so
Yeah.
much.
It's not easy, but it's a really good takeaway.
Yeah,
I
for
really
sure.
like it when she said like go to the arena and be there. If people like talk bad things about you, doesn't matter. Like at least you are there. You are like
Yeah.
in your face. You are
Yeah.
learning, because we say that all the time. We never lose. Like or we win or we learn. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that you
Yeah. I
kind of
find
said.
it really hard sometimes as a college coach to be like a fan of college sports. Like a lot of people in my family watch a lot of college football, and they'll all sit on the couch and be like, oh, why did you do that? Or like, what is he doing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? This kid has been practicing like for 4 years, like all he does is play football, and you're gonna sit here on the couch telling him like he's doing this wrong?
Yeah,
Like, are you kidding me? Like,
right. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, but yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. I think a lot of people will enjoy listening to all your experience and ideas. We really appreciate that.
yeah, thanks guys. This is great. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. I'm pretty sure it was great. And yeah, thank you so much. When I talked to you for the first time, I knew that you would be like a potential guest speaker for us, because yeah, you were so nice and always looking for knowledge and learn new things. And I was trying to share knowledge. And yeah, so thank you so
Awesome.
much for giving your time to be with us.
Yeah, this is great. I'm happy to be on it. This is a cool idea, and I hope you guys keep it going.
All right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks so much. We hope you guys have a good season
Yeah,
next
me
year.
too.
Yeah, so good.
All
See you
right.
guys.
Bye bye.